President Obama and citizens of the world.
We are TIs.
Targeted individuals.
And law-abiding citizens being targeted.
Every day of our lives.
Were you trying to get crazy with this, eh? Don't you know I'm loco?
You hear me? I'm not insane! This is not reality, not reality, not reality. This is reality. Not reality.
Thanks a lot, Obama. I'm not sure if the president ever got around to addressing this dire situation of these individuals being targeted before he left the Oval Office. Not sure if that was high up on Barack's priority list. Of course, you know what they say. You can't rely on the government for everything. And so what better way to find a solution than by bringing it to the people themselves? Such as this Kickstarter. I am a targeted individual. Now, sadly, it fell a little short of its desired goal of $14,000. Only raised 11. I'm not sure if that's 11 individuals that were targeted, individually donating $1 each, or if it's one individual donating all $11 because they're just that fucking committed. But imagine my surprise when I recognized a familiar face in the pitch video.
Hello, my name is Brian Connors. I live in Pittsburgh and I'm constantly being harassed.
Brian Connors. Holy shit. When I initially started this series, Internet Insanity, he was the very first episode. He was a pilot who had his whole life in front of him. Sadly, mental illness got the best of him. Mental illness that was egged on by a certain online community feeding into his paranoia and delusions. Strikingly, Terry A. Davis dealt with the exact same thing to a certain extent. He touched on it slightly in the Motherboard interview that I brought up when I was talking about him in that particular episode. Both these individuals, both highly talented individuals who fell victim to a mental illness, seem to have this component, this community kind of ingrained into their paranoia and delusion. And that community would be gang stalking. Now, gang stalking has existed on YouTube for quite a while. There's a dedicated community to it. There are channels which archive and document and talk about it. But what was really surprising to me was just how much growth has been in that community, how much it's really taken off and spread. Even from when I had done the Brian Connors video, which was just a few years ago, it seems to have gained quite a bit of steam. It seems to have grown more than I would have expected. And the thing about this particular community and this particular subject is once a vulnerable individual gets hooked on it, it's almost impossible for them to get out. They become wholly consumed by the idea, and then you see a dramatic shift in what they used to talk about, and it becomes focused exclusively on gang stalking. For example, this particular channel, you'll see their post history, their upload history dealt mostly with religious music. But then 1 year ago, there was a dramatic shift in the content they were putting up. It was no longer religious music, it was entirely dedicated to the concept of gang stalking. And not just videos discussing the subject, but being a victim of it, being a targeted individual. You can actually see the effect of this concept, this community playing itself out on this particular person. You have videos of them simply filming people doing their day-to-day routine and ascribing to that malicious intent. This particular video is 7 minutes long, and all it is this individual filming a woman sitting across from her on the bus. But when you read the description, you suddenly realize you are smack dab in the middle of Crazy Town. They bring up the point that the people sitting across from them are talking about rape in an effort to get this person to live on the street or go to a shelter. And that's not a one-off. This account has multiple videos where they just film random people who don't interact or even talk to them. And it always has something to do with gang stalking. Those people are out to get them. They're what the gang stalking community calls perps. Perpetrators, individuals that are working with an organization or the government or whatever entity they believe is responsible for this, and is targeting them specifically to ruin their lives or drive them insane. And that's an idea that this individual, that people in this community truly believe. Just look at this video title, Gang Stalking. I was drugged and gang raped. This guy here actually told me I raped you too. This guy, whose name is Greg, stalked me to this particular location. This occurred on 2/2/16. He told me that he was one of the men that raped me last year too. I was drugged and gang raped. Well, that sounds pretty intense. You would expect that this would be a massive video. Why didn't this go viral? This man admitted that he drugged and gang raped this woman, and she has it on film. Well, let's look at the video. It's 30 seconds long, and see if you can pick out the point when this man, Greg, tells this person that he gang raped her and drugged her last year.
Actually stalking me to the food pantry. Greg again. Today is February the 2nd, 2016. Time now is 6:55 p.m. He's nuts. Absolutely nuts. I'm going to sign out now.
Oh yes, he's nuts. Clearly Greg is the person here that's mentally unstable, even though at no point in that 30-second clip did he ever admit to drugging or gang raping this person. But yes, it's Greg that's the one with the issue. Greg is the person that needed to be filmed for that remarkable confession that only exists in this person's head, and that is symptomatic of the people that believe in this concept of gang stalking. Every single incidental or non-consequential thing, every action an individual around them takes, suddenly has a deeper meaning. It's part of the grand conspiracy, this nefarious plan which exists out in the ether to destroy them. And so when you have a person that's right on the edge, right on the precipice of mental illness, that's one step away from real insanity, and they come across this material, they come across this community that exists on YouTube and elsewhere, it's that final push, it's what's needed to throw them completely off into the deep end. And one of the interesting aspects of this are the common elements that you'll see play themselves out time and time again across each of these accounts. And so I'm going to walk you through some of that. I'm going to introduce you to gang stalking and just how insane it is. So how do you know you're dealing with perpetrators? How do you know you're surrounded by gang stalkers? Well, the first clear, distinct sign that you're being gang stalked would be the hand signals.
If you see these hand signs more than enough times a day, know you're being gang stalked. And I'll show you a few of them. Okay. 1 is here. 2 is here. 3, 4.
Oh, that's right. They use sign language. Pantomiming. They're like a sports coach that's walking the streets trying to get everybody to huddle up and come after you. And what are some of those detailed gestures they might actually do that could possibly tip you off to the fact that they're out there to get you?
When they're signaling, they're revealing to whoever else is surveilling you or the other gang stalkers in the area your exact location. If they're brushing their hair to one side, it's the side that's closest to me. That's totally Masonic. It's arch right there. So if someone's doing that, that's like a Freemason thing. And females, they love the hair thing. They're gonna flick their hair on whatever side of their head is closest to where I am.
Now, a sane individual would listen to somebody say something like that and come to the conclusion that this person is misinterpreting basic behaviors that people engage in on the street. If you have an itchy nose, you scratch it. If your hair's mussed up, you fix it. You maybe hold your arms in a certain way, or you take a certain position because you're uncomfortable around others. Usually when people cross their arms in a crowded area, it's a defensive mechanism because they're not really extroverted. But those small bits of psychology are cast away. They're cast away for the greater conspiracy of gang stalking. And this is information they feed each other. So imagine that you come across this community and you're maybe slightly mentally ill or you're a little off kilter. And these people start telling you, hey, if you see somebody scratch their nose, that means a handler. A handler, by the way, is somebody that controls the perps. The perps are the people that work for the organization to come get you. So if somebody scratches their nose, that must be a handler. And he's got perps working with him that are coming to get you. So you need to be clued into that body language to know that you're in danger. One of the other things to keep an eye out for are vehicles. Now, a common thing you're going to come across if you look into gang stalking, especially on a video website, are the sheer amount of accounts that have video after video dedicated to filming automobiles. Now these videos run the gambit, from people sitting in a parking lot and just filming random individuals in their car, thinking that this is some evidence that they're being gang stalked.
Yeah, see, that's what's funny. They don't like it when being exposed. Putting them right on YouTube, right on blast. Watch them all scurry. Give them all run. Look at that shit. Now that's gang stalking.
To people actually hiding behind buildings and filming empty and deserted parking lots, waiting for somebody to drive by so they can say, that person's a gang stalker.
They would have to expose themselves if I decided to and was determined to sit here for a little while. They would eventually drive by.
But the craziest bit out of all of the vehicle-related videos is the common idea that red is a giveaway.
2 red ones here, red one there, red one there, red one next to it, and a red one in front of it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that got here after us.
You will come across video after video talking about red automobiles and how that is direct evidence that you are being hunted.
Stepped outside and already got 3 of them. Very consistent with what I've been telling you guys I get gang stalked with. The red and white. Check it out. Another red one. Red one's driving around up front there. This is what I get.
And some of the explanations for why the color red is chosen make even less sense than you could possibly imagine.
We see that there's a red car parked at the end, and that also is a gang stalking pattern. Gang stalking, the core of it is anchoring. It's a neurolinguistic programming technique which firemen learned when so many of them took neurolinguistic programming workshops.
I don't know about you, but as a taxpayer, I'm not sure if I want to fund firefighters going on government PSYOP expeditions to screw with the basic citizenry. And so once again, just like the misinterpretation of behavior out in public as some signaling to other people to stalk someone, we now have people spreading information that if you see a car that's painted a certain color, or is driving around a parking lot for whatever reason, that must mean somebody's after you.
And you notice this car's backed up so far over the curb you can barely walk on the sidewalk. That's something they like to do too.
So you have 2 things now that are screwing with your head. Now that you've been introduced to this community, you're watching people around you, you begin to film them, you become sucked into this paranoia, into this delusion. You want to get it on tape, you want to confront people about it. And they do go out and confront people. They walk up to random people on the streets and accuse them of gang stalking them.
Stop stalking me, right? Don't ever stalk me again.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
About what?
Don't ever stalk me again.
Who's stalking you about
you. Laugh some more. Do it.
You're crazy.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Excuse me, ma'am. How much did they pay you to gang stalk me?
I'm not gang stalking you.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
I seen this old fake ass bullshit. You notice she come out with the red, this old fake ass American shit. Gang stalking ass motherfuckers. Terrorist, you're a terrorist. Excuse me, sir. Like, I know that you're a handler, and pretty much everybody else on YouTube, they know that you're a handler. We're wondering why you're out here killing people, man. The signals that you give people to come harass me.
What do you gotta say? Because, you know what, bro? I don't know what your problem is, but you know what? I'm just trying to figure out how much you get paid to be a stalker, bro.
Get out of here, buddy.
Seriously.
Get out of here.
You are connected to the Multnomah County Sheriff's and the Portland Police Department. You're a fucking murderer. You're trying to cover Officer Eric Carlson's ass. You're a goddamn murderer. You're a fucking poisoner. Sting off.
And all of these confrontations are brought about by misinformation put up on YouTube by other deluded people that got sucked into this too. And so as the individual gets more and more engrossed in this, as they get more and more sucked into this fantasy, into this absolute insane idea that they're being gang stalked by people in the community, they begin to try to explain exactly what's behind it and to monitor its effects on them.
Okay, activity's definitely escalated here. Get back here and turned on the meter, and lo and behold, wow, my head's hot. I can feel the feelings of nausea. Start having the kind of red spots, you know, just feeling itchy on the skin and whatnot. And lo and behold, mind you, the exact same setup on everything. Here's the speaker wire. It's coming in here. It's just sitting here.
Well, that looks like a scientific experiment to me. Let's hook that up to the fucking blinds. Or better yet, let's discuss the fact that every human being on Earth is covered in fungus, and that's what the gang stalkers want.
It also doesn't matter if your body itself is already the antenna. And it's not from a chip, it's not from any of that. There's something on you that you can't see. 100% of you have a fungal infection on your skin and in your body.
But oh wait, maybe it's not fungus after all. Maybe they're implanting microchips into you.
When you become a targeted individual, like a victim of electronic harassment, so you need to think, did I go to the dentist? Did I have, dental surgeries? Did I have a flu jab? Did I have any operations? Anything like that? Because that is where you could have been, implanted with a chip.
Don't go to the dentist. Don't go to the doctor. They're implanting things. And better yet, throw out your television because it gives you nightmares that shock you.
I don't know if they use TVs and stuff, but I think they do. Because, the nights that I forget to unplug it and sleep with it on, I have, these really weird dreams of being shocked. Shocked so bad that I drop my phone in the place I'm walking in.
But what do I know? Other people are the experts on this subject, like this guy.
I'm gonna lay it to you straight, man, about that gang stalking stuff. It's not really the right term to use for it because you're not being stalked. You're being harassed. I'm sure you're probably wondering, how do I know these things? Because I do.
I mean, fuck it, man. He just knows because he knows. You need to back the fuck off and listen to the expert because he do, and you don't. And so when you look at the sum of it all, what's the conclusion that you come to? Well, you have a group of individuals that are obviously mentally ill, feeding misinformation to other mentally ill people, creating this weird feedback loop where their paranoia and their delusion keeps getting worse and worse and worse. You can see this play itself out in people like Brian Connors or even Terry Davis. Suddenly, everybody is out to get them. Every car that's parked at a weird angle, every time somebody itches their nose, is all part of the conspiracy that's been created around their life. And perhaps the strangest part about all of this is that the people that believe they're being gang stalked end up behaving like the gang stalkers they think exist. They're the ones running around with a cell phone camera filming people in public. They surveil them. They tail them and confront them. They're doing exactly what they think is being done to them. In the end, I think the simplest way to put it is the belief in gang stalking does more damage than actual gang stalking. The notion that this monster exists is scarier than the reality of that monster actually existing. It is the idea of gang stalking that is destroying these people.
But with all this gang stalking stuff going on, it's just, like most people say, it runs their life. And it's literally running my life.